is piloting the UAPs or UFOs constantly seen in our skies? Where are they from? Why are they here? How long have they been here? What is their mission on planet Earth? Do they come in peace, or do they have more sinister motives? Join Mad Mark as he uncovers the answers to these questions and many more of the mysteries that puzzle us all on Who Are the Aliens? The history of the Anunnaki on planet Earth. And now, here's Mad Mark.
Today's episode, Enki relates the stories of the humans suffering the toil of the Anunnaki, and great upheavals occur and a planet-killing asteroid is unleashed as once again Nibiru's orbit brings it near the innermost planets of the solar system. Hello everyone, and welcome to Who Are the Aliens? The history of the Anunnaki on planet Earth. I am Mad Mark, and before I begin, just a quick reminder to please like, share, and comment. It helps so much. Also, I am happy to announce that if you are watching this program on YouTube, you can now purchase my merch right here on YouTube. Just click the store tab on my channel page, and you can check out and order all of the shirts I currently have available. Okay, today we continue our studies of Zecharia Sitchin's 9th book, The Lost Planet of Enki, published by Simon & Schuster in 2001. When we left off on episode 31, or season 2, episode 7, Enlil had just banished the humans from the Eden due to his disdain for them and the fact that Enki had given them the ability to procreate.
To the Abzu, away from the Eden! Let them be expelled! Enlil demanded.
And thus the humans were expelled from the Eden. I took them back to the Abzu and placed them in an enclosure among the trees. Soon thereafter, Tiamat became pregnant. She eventually gave birth to twins, and Ninhursag and I loved watching them develop, how quickly they grew and matured. By the time Adamu and Tiamat had other sons and daughters, the first ones were already procreating. Not even one Shar had passed, and already the humans were rapidly multiplying. These new primitive workers easily comprehended the tasks that they were assigned. They enjoyed being among the Anunnaki and worked hard for their daily rations. They never complained, no matter how hard the work became, and soon the Anunnaki miners were relieved of their toil. The gold shipments to Nibiru began increasing, and soon the breach in the atmosphere began to heal. The Earth mission became a success, even after all the setbacks that we had to endure. But the humans weren't the only ones increasing in numbers. Among the Anunnaki, those who from heaven to earth came began taking spouses and procreating as well. And soon, more Anunnaki were born on the earth. And though these Anunnaki offspring were still endowed with the long life cycles of Nibiru, we began to notice a quickening effect caused by exposure to Earth cycles. One who would have still been in diapers on Nibiru was now a child here on Earth. One who would have still been crawling on Nibiru was already running around on Earth. There was more joy to be had when twins were born to Nanar and Ningal. A son and daughter, Utu and Ainana, were their names, and with them, a third generation of Anunnaki were present on the Earth. As more time passed, we began to notice that the temperature on Earth was rising. Vegetation flourished, and wild creatures overran the land. The rains became heavier, and the rivers were rushing. Parts of Earth, once covered in snow when we had originally arrived here, were now lush and green. And as more of the polar ice melted, the oceans began to reclaim parts of the land. But far worse than that, Earth's volcanoes began to erupt, and the Earth quaked more and more often. I built an observation tower on the southern coast of Africa and put my son Nergal and his wife Erishkigal in charge of it. Something is wreaking havoc with the orbits of the planets, Nergal voiced concern. And Lil was also monitoring the heavenly circuits from Nibiru Key and comparing the normal orbits of the planets to what was happening now. He contacted me with distress in his voice.
"There is turmoil in the heavens,"
he screamed. Marduk contacted me from the way station on Lamu, Mars.
"Strong winds are kicking up here, causing damaging dust storms," he informed me. "And all hell is breaking loose in the asteroid belt."
Meteor showers began bombarding both the Earth and its moon, as well as Lamu, Mars, causing deep scars to appear on all three. Nibiru was once again nearing the sun, and the heavenly turmoil it was causing this time was unprecedented. As it passed by the hammered bracelet, many of the asteroids were being ejected and flung towards the inner planets. All of the worlds were being bombarded, and then one massive rock was dislodged. It hurled towards the inner planets. The Earth's skies grew dark in midday, and a shadow was cast upon the moon. And then it hit. As if diving into the path of the dragon, the moon's orbit brought it directly into the path of the killer asteroid. The moon quaked and shook from the collision, but in the end, the Earth was saved. Nibiru completed its circuit and headed back out into deep space, and all was quiet once again. We all spent some time surveying the damage. I was happy to discover that the area of the mining operations suffered little damage. Overall, what harm we did suffer was repairable. The same could not be said for Lamu, Mars. The planet-killer asteroid had passed so close to the planet that its atmosphere had been virtually sucked off of it, and dust storms had become a constant thing, making the work there virtually unbearable. My son Marduk requested a transfer to Earth. With the way station's future now in jeopardy, Enlil announced plans to build a larger hangar-type facility where celestial chariots could be stored. That way, we would have everything we needed right here on Earth should the way station need to be abandoned completely. The only downside to this plan was that Earth's gravitational pull is much greater than that on Lamu, Mars, making the power drain on the ship's systems far greater on landings and takeoffs. So, I came up with a backup plan. We should see if it would be possible to move the way station onto Earth's moon. Landings and takeoffs for the massive cargo ships would be far easier from there. The counselors and savants on Nibiru gave my plan the okay to proceed, and I was thrilled to hear it. I had always found the moon to be alluring. Did it have any atmosphere? Was there water hiding on it anywhere? On nights when I could not sleep, I would stare at it through my window and ponder these thoughts for hours. Thus did Marduk and I travel to the moon to investigate these possibilities. As our ship circled the moon, we couldn't help but stare in wonder at the many craters and scars its surface contained. We brought the ship down in the midst of some rolling hills, from where we could observe both the Earth and the heavens. We donned our spacesuits and exited the ship. It was easy to maneuver on the moon with almost zero atmospheric resistance, but the planet was dry and desolate.
"We couldn't possibly build a way station here," Marduk observed. "It's completely unsuitable. Let's get out of here and return to Earth."
"Do not be hasty, my son," I replied. "Do you not find the celestial dance between the Earth, moon, and sun to be enchanting? With our instruments, we can scan the distant heavens. The handiwork of the Creator of all we can observe firsthand here. Let us stay, admire, and observe the circuits, how the moon circles the earth, and how the earth circles the sun. We return to the ship for the day. Our temporary dwelling place it would be. For several Earth years did we remain on the moon, studying and learning, and we paid great attention to the constellations, how they changed as the Earth's orbit moved along. When I first arrived on the Earth, it was during the sign of Pisces, the sign of the fishes, and soon after I was given the title of Lord of Earth's Waters by King Anu. Do you see how this all plays out? There is synchronicity to it, I explained.
You have great wisdom, Father, and you have taught me well, Marduk responded. But on both Earth and Nibiru, it appears that knowledge and power are often separated.
My son, I shouted. What is it that you do not know? What is it that you are missing? All of my knowledge of both heavens and the earth I have shared with you.
Here's the way I see it, Marduk complained. When you set upon the task of creating the primitive workers to relieve the toil of the Anunnaki miners, you did not choose my mother Ninmah to assist you, but instead chose Ninhursag, the mother of Ninurta. You also chose my younger brother Ningazida to assist you. So it was with them, not me, that you shared your knowledge of life and death.
Yes, my son, I responded. But to you I gave command of the Ijiji and the way station on Lamu Mars. There you were supreme.
True, Marduk continued, but it appears to me that fate has deprived both of us of true leadership and command. You are King Anu's firstborn son, yet it is Enlil who is heir to the throne. You were the first to come to Earth, and you established the first city here, Eridu. Yet all of that is now under Enlil's command, and your rule has been relegated to the distant Abzu. I am your firstborn son. To your legitimate spouse on Nibiru, I was born. Yet the gold here on Earth is assembled and prepared for shipment in the city of Ninurta. Nibiru's fate is in his hands, not mine. So now we return to Earth. Lamu Mars has been virtually destroyed, and with it my command there. Will I be greeted on Earth with kingship and fame, or with humiliation be my destiny?
In silence I embraced my son, and on the desolate moon I made him this promise. The things that have been deprived of me shall not be deprived of you. Your time to rule the earth will come. During the zodiac age adjacent to mine shall you rise to power, Aries. During the time of the ram shall you rule the earth.
Hey gang, Mad Mark here, and by popular demand I now have merch available. I've found the perfect company to work with, and they do an outstanding job. There are t-shirts and hoodies available right now, and who knows what I will come up with in the future. There are 2 different designs to choose from at the moment. You have this one and this one. And these t-shirts and hoodies come in a variety of colors and sizes, so no matter what you're looking for, there's something for everybody. If you're watching this show right now on YouTube, you can find this merch by clicking the shop link below in the show description, or just pay a visit to www.madmarktv.com. That's the all-new Who Are the Aliens t-shirts and hoodies. Get yours today.
During our absence, and unbeknownst to us, back on Earth, Enlil was once again conspiring. He contacted King Anu on Nibiru in secret.
For quite some time now, Father, have Enki and Marduk been on the moon, he shrieked. We have not heard so much as a peep from them. Since the destruction from Nibiru's last passing of Earth, nothing has been done. No plans have been implemented. The Ijiji are in turmoil. Should they close down the way station on Lamu Mars or not? The dust storms are getting worse, and panic is setting in. If we are going to shut down operations there, then we need to begin construction of a new station somewhere soon. To delay any longer is ludicrous. What are Enki and Marduk doing up there? We have no idea, but it's something treacherous, I have no doubt. We can no longer just sit here twiddling our thumbs. Let me give the command to Ninurta to begin constructing the new way station near Bad Tabira. And let's evacuate the Ijiji from Mars before they suffer any longer.
After a time, a reply came from Anu. I have contacted Enki and Marduk, and they are returning to Earth. Let us hear their words before moving forward. Once we returned to the Earth, Marduk and I informed the other leaders of what we had discovered on the moon. King Anu viewed the proceedings via telecommunication from Nibiru. A way station on the moon is unfeasible, I informed them. Conditions there are even worse than what the Ijiji are currently suffering on Lamu Mars. Then I want construction of a new facility started immediately there on Earth. We cannot disrupt the gold shipments to Nibiru any longer, Anu declared. And let Marduk be its commander, I suggested.
I have already promised command of the new facilities to Ninurta, Enlil shouted.
If we close the facility on Lamu Mars to rebuild it here, then it only makes sense that Marduk should continue to be in command of it, I insisted. Only he has the knowledge of the operations there and the proper procedures. With wisdom I am endowed, Anu declared, and with wisdom I will make this decision. Neither Marduk nor Ninurta shall command this new place of the celestial chariots. It is time for the younger generation of Anunnaki to take on some responsibility. Let Utu be the new commander, and let Sipar, or Bird City, be its name. Thus were the words of Anu, and they were final. In the 81st Shar did the construction begin, according to the plans designed by Enlil. Nibiru Key, the navel of the earth, was in the center. As on circles by their places and distances were the olden cities located, and, like an arrow from the lower sea towards the mountains, they were arranged. In line with the twin peaks of Mount Ararat to the north were Nippur and Sipar arranged. Ingenious was Enlil's plan. All stared in wonder at its precision. In the 82nd Shar was construction of the new facility in Supar completed, and Utu Shamash, grandson of Enlil, was made its commander. An eagle's helmet was created especially for him, and with eagle's wings was he decorated. And the first celestial chariot from Nibiru to Earth to ever land at this new facility carried Anu as its main passenger. He wished to view for himself the wonder that had been accomplished. A huge celebration, including a feast, was organized for this occasion. Marduk and the Ijiji were present, as were all the Anunnaki from around the earth. Inanna Ishtar, Enlil's granddaughter, provided singing and dancing for this event. When all of the celebrating had concluded, Anu spoke to the throng. A new era has begun, the king announced. Once enough of the precious gold has been mined, refined, and stored onto ships, the day will come when we can diminish our work here on the earth and start bringing our heroes back home. A few more shars of toil, and homeward they shall be bound. With much pomp and circumstance did Anu depart the earth to return to Nibiru, and a fresh cargo of pure refined gold did he carry along with him. After all of the excitement had died down, Marduk informed me that with the closing of the facilities on Lamu Mars, he wished to return to the Abzu with me. And Utu Shamash was put in charge of the Ijiji from that time on. But it wasn't long before trouble was brewing once again. Although the human workers were proliferating nicely and providing relief for the Anunnaki miners in the Abzu. With the introduction of the new facility in Sipar and the many increased duties and responsibilities resulting from it, the Anunnaki workers there were becoming stressed. For 40 shars now have the humans provided relief only to the Abzu, they shouted. But now our toil has been increased beyond endurance. Let us have workers too. Enlil and I held several meetings regarding this situation, but apparently we were not moving fast enough for Ninurta, who decided to take matters into his own hands. Unbeknownst to us, he gathered a group of 50 armed Anunnaki and headed down to the Abzu. They basically hunted and captured many male and female humans and brought them back to the Eden. Ninurta then put them to work, doing all sorts of tasks, both in the orchard and within the cities. When we discovered what Ninurta had done, both Enlil and I were enraged.
I expelled the humans from the Eden for a reason, Enlil shouted at his son. And you thought it was okay to just waltz them back in here?
I am trying to prevent another mutiny like the one we experienced in the Abzu. Ninurta stood his ground. The humans can handle basic everyday tasks, which will free up the Anunnaki to concentrate more on the important duties of refining and shipping the gold.
Whatever,
Enlil grumbled.
A few more shars and it won't matter anyway. Let the gold pile up quickly so that we can finish up here and get the hell off of this planet.
The humans were a huge success amongst the Anunnaki in the Eden, who were impressed with their intelligence and their abilities. They were able to perform all sorts of rudimentary tasks, which freed up the Anunnaki to concentrate on the more important duties at hand. And an added bonus was that they were constantly mating, which provided us with an endless supply of new workers. But the downside to all of this was that as the human numbers grew, the more they consumed, and soon there were food shortages throughout the Eden. The humans were constantly foraging and eating up everything they got their hands on. You must remember that in those days there weren't enough Anunnaki on Earth where we ever had to concern ourselves with growing food. There were plenty of wild fruits and berries and hunting parties that supplied us with enough wild animals, birds, and fish to satiate us. But now, with so many human mouths to feed, our methods of attaining nourishment were no longer feasible to sustain everyone. And the longer these shortages continued, the angrier Enlil became.
You caused this mess by creating these humans, Enlil screamed at me. So it's up to you to devise a solution.
For 3 shars did our suffering continue. By hunting, fishing, and gathering, we were no longer able to meet the nutritional needs of both the Anunnaki and the ever-growing population of humans. I knew in my heart that an even more intelligent human was needed, one that would be capable of learning to farm and shepherd. But how do I achieve it? This question I did contemplate. Enlil would never agree to let me upgrade the humans once again. I would have to do it in secret, and I did just that. I began by making careful study of the current humans that I had created, at which time I made an alarming discovery. It seemed that with each generation, they were slowly regressing back to their original wild ways. In other words, becoming less and less human, and more animal. As I pondered this grave issue, I decided to sail through the marshlands near the Eden on my boat. I was accompanied by my vizier, Isimud, who was someone that I not only trusted, but with whom I knew would keep my goings-on a secret. As we drifted along, we noticed a small group of humans frolicking and bathing along the riverbank. We moved in for a closer look, and I noticed that two of the females were very beautiful, and I found myself becoming wildly attracted to them. Shall I not meet them? I smirked at Isimud, and guessing my intentions, he nodded with a smile. He moved the boat towards the shore, and I stepped out onto the dry land. I called out to one of the young females, and she came forward, offering me some tree fruit. I embraced her and kissed her sweet lips. Soon we were making love in the shade of the trees. When we had finished, I approached the second female, and, to make a long story short, I enjoyed a repeat performance. Afterwards, I returned to the boat, and as I stepped aboard, I nodded at Isimud. Keep an eye on those two females for the next few weeks. See if they become pregnant. Isimud did as I requested, and after several weeks, he reported back to me that indeed the two females were with child. After several months passed, the two gave birth on the same day, one a male child and the other a female. When Isimud reported the births back to me, I was ecstatic. Whoever would have thought such a thing, I thought. Children have been conceived between an Anunnaki and a human. I have created the first civilized humans. And that is where I will leave you for this episode. I hope you can agree that although I have covered this information before on past episodes, these in-depth details being provided by Enki are certainly more intense and a lot more informative. And you have quite a lot to digest there, and we have so much more to cover and learn. I, of course, am Mad Mark, and I sincerely hope that you have enjoyed this episode. If so, please like, share, and comment. It helps so much. And please subscribe so that you never miss a single episode. Also, please tell your friends and help spread the word about this show. If you have any questions regarding the content discussed on this program, just message me through madmarktv.com or on any of my social media platforms. Now, here's something of interest to those of you who are artists, and I know that there are several of you out there. I am now taking submissions of artwork that I can use for my new line of merchandise. Yes, Mad Mark merch is here. Right now, I have many shirts for you to choose from, but I will undoubtedly be adding additional items in the future. If you're watching this program on YouTube, just click the Store tab and you can check it out right there. Also, when you buy one of my shirts, I would love it if you would send me a photo of you wearing it. I will be featuring these pictures on my website, so make sure you send those in. But as I was saying, I need your artwork. Just draw something full color that has to do with the Anunnaki, such as the scenes you see behind me here on the show. Now, there's no money involved in this, but it's a great chance to get your artwork out there where the public can see it. So get busy creating some cool works of art, and who knows, your artwork could be featured on a future Who Are the Aliens merchandise item. So send your submissions to me at www.madmarktv.com or on any of my social media platforms. I also have a special heads up for those of you who have Facebook accounts. I now offer a subscribers only page on Facebook where, for just 99 cents a month, you can watch each episode of my show right there on Facebook. It's a handy alternative to having to hassle back and forth with YouTube or Spotify to watch the show, and all of my past episodes are on there as well, so it's pretty convenient for just 99 cents a month. If you're interested, there's a link down in the show notes. Lastly, I would like to remind everyone that listening to this program is no excuse to not read the book that we have been discussing here. It's The Lost Book of Enki by Zecharia Sitchin. It is an amazing work, and I am leaving out a lot of information in order to keep the show flowing properly, so do yourselves a favor and read that book. Who Are the Aliens? The History of the Anunnaki on Planet Earth is written and produced by me, Mad Mark. Today we have taken another step in our ongoing journey to discover the truth. I promise you that things will get more and more interesting the further we delve into this topic of who are the aliens, the history of the Anunnaki on planet Earth. Peace to all of you, and remember to always walk in love. Bye for now.
You've been listening to Who Are the Aliens? The History of the Anunnaki on Planet Earth with your host, Mad Mark. Join us again on our next program when Mad Mark will once again uncover the answers to the mysteries that puzzle mankind.